Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to Monogatari. Tonight we're in episode 4 of Koyomimonogatari. So, what happened on the last episode? That is a great question. Let me boom. This is the last episode comments on the screen. You already know how it goes. I also just let my cat in my room, so if my cat jumps on me during this, then this is your foreshadowing. This is your warning. Alright. But yeah, so last episode was Koyomi Sand, which was pretty fire. We got to see Hachikuji, so yay Hachikuji, that's always a win. There's kind of like two things going on. There's like a continued, conversation or like thematic through line of like roads and them kind of being a metaphor for life and like, I mean, that's it pretty much. So there was some commentary on that with Hachikuji saying like a road is a road because one walks on it, and if like it were to dead end, then it would no longer be a road. So pretty fire there. And then second, like the next half of kind of the episode was this sandbox, which I took as an analogy for Aragi not dealing with the core cracks in his foundation, but instead like playing in the sand, which looks like a demon face, that kind of thing. But there were some really interesting other ideas here in the comments. So let's go into the comments. Yay! But yeah, so this I actually do really like, of like this sand symbolizing some Hanakawa stuff. And kind of Hanakawa state. Let me the timeline. Timeline wise, we're right here. We're like right before so we're straight up in between Bake and Nisei with Koyomi Sand. That's kind of fun. But yeah, so the idea here with the Hanakawa is that there was a point of like if the sandbox were to break, then the sand and the dirt would mix, and that was kind of an interesting thing. Where I kind of like tried to spin it into like the world of the oddity and the world of the non-oddity, the ordinary, the extraordinary, like some sort of mixing there. Like, I didn't feel great about that. But this, I think, works pretty well, of like, the sand and the dirt mixing is a metaphor for Hanakawa accepting herself, and the healthiest way to fix the problem is to just call park management. Just like Hanakawa asking her parents for her own room. So, like, the sand and the dirt mixing would be like the pure white and the pure black of Black Hanakawa, and then Hanakawa during her oddity arcs before she goes Tiger Stripe mode. And then therefore the mixing is like good. I like that idea. Where I'm getting a little like stuck on it is how do I say this? The sandbox breaking. It's like the hole in the sandbox kind of in the way that the story went on was a negative thing, right? Where like to fix the problem is to call park management so that we repair the sandbox to keep the sand and keep the dirt from mixing with each other, which then would be not Hanakawa accepting herself, right? So like the way for her to accept herself is for them to merge, so to fix the sandbox and stop that potential would be like counterproductive, right? So in that way, it's like, are we, and to what degree is it a metaphor for like the Hanakawa stuff? I think that there is a way we could maybe try to read it, which is kind of cool, of like a Araragi, because this is Araragi, right? Araragi's narrating this. Araragi's the one that's like interacting with the story, so we got to run it through like some Araragi lens, where it's like Araragi thinks that we don't want the sand and the dirt to mix, in the same way that like that's why he idolizes Hanakawa, is because she's that pure white, So he doesn't think them mixing is a good thing. Which is like, but then Hanakawa in later arcs, like when she actually mixes it, it's like that is a good thing, right? But like for Araragi, he doesn't think that. That's why it has like the negative connotation of like the sandbox breaking and like that needing to be fixed. So I think the sand and the dirt mixing is a metaphor for Hanakawa accepting herself. I think that works, and then the way that we deal with it in the episode, right, where it's like we're gonna call for park management, we're gonna fix this, is what Araragi thinks of that situation, right? He thinks that Hanakawa mixing the sand and the dirt would be a bad thing because obviously, he idolizes pure white Hanakawa, so he wouldn't want any like tainting of that. He wouldn't want the sand to be tainted. But in reality, we would want the sand to be tainted because that's how we get freaking prime ultra tiger stripe giga woman Hanakawa. So yeah, I like that idea, and I think it like gives us a portrayal of like an example of what Araragi could be thinking, like is thinking of the Hanakawa situation. But yeah, so I do like that. This also counts as foreshadowing for her because Hanakawa is the one who notices it, and it happened before Tsubasa family arc, if I recall correctly. I don't know if this is all reaching or not. I don't think it's reaching. No, I like that. I like the idea. We got this beautiful timeline. Thank you, Terminant Hero, per usual. So, what, the Tsubasa family arc? Yeah, I mean, Tsubasa Tiger's like way down here. Tsubasa Tiger, Neko Shiro, Tsubasa Cat. Yeah, this is like right after Tsubasa Cat. So, oh well, no, yeah. So it is after Tsubasa Family because Tsubasa Family was apparently like way at the beginning. But it is before Neko Shiro where like a lot of that stuff kind of came to fruition. So I think it still works. I think it still works. I literally, if I didn't have this timeline here, then I wouldn't even be commenting on like this because I don't remember the names of the arcs like at all. It's so hard to remember, which is why this is so incredibly clutch. So yeah, this man, my throat. Come on, throat, get it in business. Look, we're drinking a Dr. Pepper, a classic. Have a sip, get some caffeine in your system. Okay, you're gonna need it. Get yourself a drink, get yourself a snack. You know how it goes. So yeah, this next comment. I remember liking it. What was this about? Oh, yeah. I think this is crazy. This is crazy when you actually put them next to each other. Because, like, I remember when we started the Hachikuji one and she had that commentary on the roads when we were reading the, like, chapter 1 thing, immediately I was like, oh, so we continuing the thing from last episode with the paths, right? But I didn't even really fully connect it back to Koyomi Stone with the whole, how can you take to heart something you take for granted? There's a road and you walk down it. Look at it! Road! She says the word road, bro. That's crazy. Man, it's like the traffic signals are like the way that we organize our road. But they're not organizations we made because I didn't make the traffic lights. So who was making the traffic lights, huh? Bro, it reminds me of a crazy quote from that one guy. It's like, I'm gonna butcher it. I don't even remember the guy's name. It was like the guy, some like racist guy, I think. I don't know. My memory's poor. But it's like, people think when they're on a road that they have the decision, they can turn left, they can turn right, they can switch lanes, but they're not the ones who built the roads. So like at the end of the day, they don't have the decision they think they have. They don't have the freedom they think they have, right? Freaking a banger, right? But yeah, oh man, I won't. Maybe I'll search it up post and maybe like make a comment or something if I remember. But yeah, super crazy line. But it's kind of that's kind of an interesting idea of like, yeah, like if we're taking roads as our analogy of choice, then like Araragi, or all the characters, like it's like the traffic scientists, like they didn't make those. So it's like the idea of like, and that I think plays into just the idea of fate, where it's like Araragi's like, yeah, like maybe he's seeing his life as a road, and then but feels that like in the way that Gon or whoever like puppeteers Araragi and he's like at the whims of fate and it's like divine intervention or like divine retribution, I think is his wordage, and all that kind of stuff that like it's all out of his hands. It's like he's just on the road and he doesn't have any control is like the way that he's kind of imagining it. But these different ideas I think are like, it's like fleshing out that analogy of life as a road. One thing I did want to like talk about that I thought of with Hachikuji here, because like, okay, and this is like not really a monogatari thing. This is more something that like a personal philosophy that this reminded me of. So I'll try to keep it like short, but like, where it's like, how would we not take it for granted, right? How can you take how can you take to heart something you take for granted? There's a road and you walk down it. That's all. Take it from me. There's like this part here of there's a road and you walk down it. That's all. Because I mean that's kind of like for life. It's like, yeah, there's a life and you live it. Like that's kind of it, you know. But combining that with what Hachikuji says of once you come to a stop, that place ceases to be a road. I think what a lot of people don't realize is that like you can choose to stop, you know, and that can be a lot of different things. But like in the most final or like the most powerful way to stop, of course, and I'm not at all recommending this, obviously, like let's be careful, would be like ending your own life, right? I mean, if the life's the road and you come to a stop and it stops being a road, then that's like you know, ending your own life, which is you know, something we see a lot in Monogatari as like a theme, so, or like something it makes commentary of. But for me, like I have like a bit of a personal philosophy of like, we're all like walking down roads or whatever. Like I'm walking down my road of life, but I do so with the idea in my head that at any point I could stop, right? I could stop walking down the road. I could, you know, end myself if I really wanted to. I could, like that's within my power. And as like horrible and scary as that can be, it also for me like makes me like gives me a sense of gratitude and control, you know, where it's like, yeah, like maybe fate has twisted, has impressioned upon me. Maybe I'm just at the whims of my own guy and my own like parental figures, whatever they may be, the people around me, my environment. Maybe I am at the whims of all these things that I have no control over. But at the end of the day, in the vast majority of cases, I have control whether I'm walking down this road or not. Like, it's very rare that you're forced to move forward if you truly in your heart of hearts don't want to. And that for me gives me like a gratitude, or at least a responsibility and like a sense of control that I think can be very powerful. But it also, obviously for somebody that's not in like a very like good mental space, that can be a very dangerous thing to consider, right? That power rests within them. But I don't know, it just reminded me of that, especially with the show, having like suicide within it like as a theme a lot. And now we're talking about life, and then we're talking about life ending and like gratitude with life. Got me. I don't know. It just kind of got me thinking about like some of the ways that I've considered like life in the status quo, the human condition, if you want to get sciencey with it. But yeah, so I don't know, just a little thought there. Before connecting the first chapter to the story stand, I want to call back to the Ononoki conversation. So yeah, about living. This is, she's dead, bro. It is what it is. We do have the three, because the Ononoki conversation was like the making distinctions between the three types of dead, right? With Araragi, who is not alive but never died because he became a vampire. Ononoki, who died, and then I don't think it's quite that she was reborn or brought back to life, because like the idea I have for this, and this is a very minor thing, and maybe, I don't know, just the idea I have for Ononoki is that like Ononoki or whoever was in that body, like whoever Ononoki was, died. Well, it's not even that, but the vessel that is Ononoki's body had someone in it, and then they died, and then the freaking college squad, Kagenui, that one new guy we met, that his name I'm forgetting, Tadatsuru, I have it written over there. Tadatsuru, Kagenui, that entire squad showed up, and they put a new body, or a new soul, a new spirit, a new whatever into that body. So it's less of her being reborn and more that her vessel is now being used for a different purpose. Like, I got my coffee cup, I spill it out, I put in milk. Okay, Ononoki's the milk. Don't ask why I chose milk. Hachikuji, however, never came. So yeah, but yeah, point stands. And then Hachikuji is instead a ghost who never came back to life. So she did die, and then has like been in that like half, she's in the ghost state. She's like still in that liminal space. And Araragi, and then the question of if Hachikuji is happy as a ghost, which Araragi forgot to bring up until the end of the arc. I almost feel like he, I don't know, forgot. I feel like it might have been like a purposeful forgetting, where like rather than actually doing the introspection of like asking Hachikuji about that and figuring that out, he instead wanted to like distract himself or do the heroic thing of going back in time and saving her, as opposed to actually like getting to the brass tacks and actually figuring out like how she feels about the situation. He would rather just save her in the way that feels fulfilling for him. But point stands, agreed, just extra thing. As Ononoki highlights, Hachikuji is truly dead. I like this idea of like a dead ghost, which is like a double dead, and the whole like lying existence thing here is why the darkness was after her. What I really like though, and the reason that I'm like even like talking like that, I like this comment so much, is darkness is described as a natural force, not a character, not an oddity, but something like weather. Which then we get the sand episode where it's the natural force of like gravity and the crack that is causing the issues. And I mean, this is a Hachikuji like mini arc, right? This is a Hachikuji flashback. So like for the crack to be the darkness, and we're too busy like looking at the devilish appearance and like, oh, we're being hunted, and like, how do we even say it? Where Araragi fails to see past the surface, that is the sand of Hachikuji, and see the darkness behind the crack, the natural force. I like that analogy fits very tightly, especially because Hachikuji's the one that like saw this for the first point. So like it does immediately reflect back to Hachikuji in some way, Hachikuji may be walking, but her essence as an oddity is that of a lost existence to go nowhere. That is her nature. As you've pointed out, going in circles is equivalent to a standstill. This speaks to Araragi himself, which in Oni he painfully got over. which one was Oni? Oni Shinobu Tan. Oh yeah. Painfully got over. I mean, he definitely. Yeah, because in a sense, ooh. This speaks to Araragi himself, which Oni he painfully got over. Because yeah, he tells Ogi. You know, I think it's even less of like him letting go of Hachikuji, because Hachikuji kind of like was like, I'm leaving, and like, you know, it wasn't really, Araragi like didn't want it to happen, but it was him afterwards telling Ogi to like break the standstill of like, it's time for my war plan, it's time to make things happen, right? It's time to like change the status quo. So like that is a moving in some direction as opposed to a standstill. Okay. Ogi is Araragi's attempt to break out of his stagnation, but Ogi's a rat. Okay. The Sandpit's devilish appearance is no character and oddity but nature. What she says about life may be true, that is to move forward. The irony is that she is dead. Ghosts in the present are those who never moved on, and as we know it, she should have an example of a lie to her nature, a crack, which eventually got unearthed, a source of happiness, truly only in the present, which reached a dead end. That just hurts, man. That just hurts. Okay. Pun intended, sorry, Snail. You don't gotta, what did I just do? You don't gotta dunk on a, poor Hanakawa's trying, or poor Hachikuji, yeah, she's already dead. You don't gotta kick her while she's down. Yeah, the comment on fan surface, I think if I'm remembering right, that was, what was my comment? Oh yeah, that like the fan surface is like our own, is like the sand or something, and we have to like get past our own perceptions of what the fan surface brings to actually dig deeper. Like, was it that? But yeah, I think that could be a part of it for sure. I like that idea. A full service construction which has to be looked past. Dang, because that's like that's kind of the Koyomi flower again, you know? Like, the fan service is a thing that like can push you away but can also draw you in or something. Whoa, the fan service is the flower? Wow. I wonder if that at all is an idea. But yeah, I really liked the connection of Hachikuji in the darkness to the crack in the sandbox. Yeah, I'm gonna give that a heart. I like that a lot. Okay, Senjuga being suicidal and jumping off the stairs is interesting, but I don't think it aligns with her personality at the time. She was extremely protective of herself to the point that she actually scouted out the environment to spot potential danger to avoid them, so suicide is very unlikely. About the banana peel, I find it to fit her metaphor of the crab oddity perfectly. I do think this, like, as like this part of like, crabs are not famous for their dexterity, so like slipping on the banana peel, I mean, that's pretty funny and I'm here for it. I would honestly, what I would have to do is rewatch Bake 1 and 2 to like get a read on Senjuga personality. The thing with, like, I think this is a good point of like, she was, I mean, meeting with all these different like oddity, balancer, specialist people, you know, Kaiki and then eventually Oshino, and was like taking those steps and was like scouting out the environment and such. I don't think like necessarily, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a situation where she does, like, she is extremely protective of herself, but she also is suicidal. Because I think that can exist. I don't know how much of a contradicting thing that is. Because, like, I mean, to even be considering, like, suicide, or, like, you know, anything like that, I think is, like, a kind of a struggle against, like, the self-preservation instinct. So, for her self-preservation instinct to be, like, flaring up, in that she's like actively like noticing potential danger everywhere, like, I don't know. I think the suicide could still fit in, but I don't want to, I'm not going to latch on to the idea super. I think that is like I think that does pull us away from the like suicide thing, especially because the entire deal was like the apathy, right? Because like what I would think for like a reason why she would be thinking of like ending, of like, you know, killing herself, is that she's grown apathetic, which kind of, to me, would lead to, like, a recklessness, right? Of, like, oh, I've distanced myself from all my emotions. That means I've also distanced myself from my, like, self-preservation instinct. I'll just walk into traffic because I don't really care, so I'm just going to, like, blow to the whims of fate, and then if a car hits me kind of thing. That's kind of what, like, the direction I would imagine that would lead to, like, some sort of, like, suicide or something like a reckless endanger, or like reckless behavior that would lead to death kind of thing. So for her to be protective of herself, which I mean I'd have to rewatch the beginning to like truly kind of get a feel of that. But if she is that protective of herself, then that would be kind of counterintuitive to that point, right? Where she's like, that's like she's not being empathetic if she's trying to protect herself, right? But I mean, I also think to Kiyomi's flower, where she like immediately stepped out into traffic and Araragi like caught her, so like that could even be like a level of what I'm trying to bring up, right? Where like say apathy that leads to that recklessness that could lead to like endangering yourself. So I think the ideas could work together, but I also do think that does kind of make it a little less likely. So I agree with your point, but I don't want to full send it basically. But yeah, good stuff. Boom, 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 boom. I think you're pretty much right on the money about the cracks in the sandbox and the ogre-like surface. It also reminds me of another great Shaft show that I hope you'll read it acting in the future. Ooh, another Shafty Shaft. Don't mind if I shaft. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. I like this. I just like this little thing of like describing a person as a glass with cracks in it and can never be filled no matter how much you try to pour in it. Ooh. It depends on the size of the crack. It depends on the size of the crack. Because, like, I don't know, what I immediately think of like, with a character that's described of that, like, in that way, is you're trying to like, fill their vessel, and they, like, a crack would, like, if it's a small crack, then it, like, causes, like, minor leakage, right? So it's, like, it constantly needs to be continually filled, and then in that case, it's almost like a leech, or, like some sort of burden that constantly needs to be dealt with. But if it's just like a massive crack, then it's just like you can't fill it at all. Like that's GG. So I don't know. I'm interested in that like analogy for like a character. The fact that they're specifically ogre-looking facing this end is also telling, I think, because of the cracks in the soul and mind, a person can behave and look very ugly and off-putting. Yeah, I do like that a lot as well. Where it's like the undercurrent. Man, that's like almost a analogy for like why people are horrible, you know, because a lot of people are like horrible monsters, not gonna lie, but like the reasons that a lot of people are horrible can a lot of the times, not always, but a lot of the times can be stemmed to like root trauma in childhood, right? I mean, like a bunch of serial killers, a bunch of whatever horrible thing, a lot of the times, not always, I don't even know the stats, but were like abused in their childhood or had some sort of developmental trauma, blah blah blah. So it's like the foundational issues can like crack a person in a way that makes them behave and look ugly and off-putting, or at least behave and look monstrous. I would maybe say instead of ugly. But yeah, so I think that's a really interesting kind of point. It makes me think of like, because like Araragi has a, you know, like the crack in himself, right? But, like, I don't think many people would consider him monstrous, right? Like, where's the ogre in this situation? That's why I think Ogi's the ogre, because Araragi got issues. He's the protagonist. Like, there's some core issues there, but overall, like, it's funny, I was about to say he doesn't act very Oddity-like, but he literally turns into a vampire, like, every 2 minutes. But, like, he usually acts very heroic or whatever, so I think that the very ugly and off-putting thing or the monstrous thing would be, like, the Ogi in that kind of thing. But, yeah, so I like that idea. You can try to apply that to different characters. Sunjigahara would be the best example, probably, but there are also better examples down the line. The character from the other Shaft show also fits perfectly. Bro, you gotta drop the name, let me know. It's funny, we literally Shaft with Madoka and then Shaft with Monogatari. Shaft's on a roll, I'm not gonna lie. Another Koyomi episode, another month, another girl. Another thing that is not what it seems, or should I say another thing that people mistake for something else. People's tendency to see supernatural and natural things is probably why Monogatari world is full of oddities. Oddities make people believe people make oddities with their beliefs. Chicken and the egg, the vicious cycle. Yeah, I mean, what a brutal thing, where it's like the supernatural is stemmed from belief in the supernatural, but it's like pattern recognizing monkey brain is always going to, like, pattern recognizing monkey brain makes people believe in the supernatural all the time, even if it's not a thing. So if you were in a world where it could be born from that belief, then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And a self-fulfilling prophecy is like, we're guided by fate, right? It's like there is a prophecy, which is exactly the theme of Gain. Whoa, bro. Okay. But yeah, I like that idea. Early gang for life, you know it. Easy clap, easy clap, easy clap. Hit the notification bell, gotta let them know. Oh wait, I don't have a notification bell because this is my own channel, so I can't like get notifications from my own channel. That's crazy. Projecting harder with Araragi with that fan service bit, lol. I'm gonna... Maybe... Listen, all of media consumption is projection. Easy clap. Okay, I'm gonna have to put an end to the dead father meme right now. When I was talking about this last time and said that Hanakawa talked to both his parents in Shiro, you only thought of the conversation with Araragi's mom. I was referring to Hanakawa's bathroom monologue in Shiro 3, where she outright says that she talked to both of them as well as what they said. That's interesting. I forgot about that. I would have to rewatch it. Though, I thought this was a cool breakdown of that, or like a cool, like, potential counter argument of that point, where it's like previously I've said, like, I don't trust Araragi with information about his parents very much, because, like, why would Araragi's been very, like, purposeful and kind of, I don't know, he's been purposefully vague and purposefully not giving us information when he's been telling the story. So when Hanakawa came in and told the story, I was like, oh, like, now we're getting some information that's, like, workable. But you know what's crazy? Hanakawa literally, like, a core part of her issues is her parental issues. So, like, maybe we shouldn't trust her with parental information that much. You kind of get what I mean? Because, like, if she, like, she has her issues with parents, and I think this comment from Rex really breaks it down, of, like, perhaps she's seeing it more as, like, a family unit, and that's, like, where, like, the jealousy comes from. That means when she sees Mamoragi drooling emoji, she thinks of her like half of a family unit. That's crazy to me. But yeah, just in like Hanakawa doesn't have a typical idea of like what family is or like what parents are. So perhaps we can't fully trust the way that like we can't take her stuff at face value either when it comes to Araragi's parents. It is kind of copium. But it's a pretty funny idea that like the only character like other than Araragi that's talked about Araragi's parents, and that's not including like Karen and Tsukihi, because like they said that it was in wasn't it in Hanakawa's arc that Karen and Tsukihi talked about? I mean, like in terms of narrating, the only characters that have narrated that have talked about Araragi's parents are Hanakawa and Araragi. And both of them have weird stuff with parents. Like, Araragi, obviously, because we don't hear about it from his story. And then Hanakawa, because her story is freaking full of the parent stuff. So, yeah. It's an interesting It's an interesting, like, coincidence. Like, who, like, you know. And I don't know. It just makes me curious. It makes me curious. I feel like it could be a thing. It could also not be a thing. It feels like potentially something that's, like, in the back pocket, where it's like a reveal down the line of like something happened, something were to happen, like some sort of undercurrent's been going on, and so like we're being very careful with where our information's coming from so that we can say, oh, like yes, we thought that the parents were like normal parents, but like what, you're gonna trust Hanakawa, you know? I don't know, but yeah, so it's an interesting idea. The dead father, I don't know about dead father, but like there's gonna be something spicy. I'm just saying, there could be something spicy. It's fun to have on the shelf. When I was talking, oh yeah, so I read that. As for the episode, do I even need to say anything? The fraction container, I think said all this at the end of the episode, so like I agree completely. The nature which ties into Hachikuji's kind of a fun spot there. His innocence could only see the demon in all the weight. Hence the true fake monster split in his monster self-conceptualization. Obviously, this is his perspective, not a statement of fact. It's so hard to even find like a statement of fact in this show. Like, I don't know. What is fact? What is reality? I'm losing it. But yeah, like I agree with this 100%. I think I was saying as much. Concerning your continued confusion regarding Hachikuji, I suppose I should make that clear. I am curious what exactly you mean by this. Like which part of Hachikuji? Yeah. Also ties into what I said about Kabuki about Hachikuji's money obsession relating to Araragi's pointless need to pay back to Ashina. True. Very true. I think it's like a paying back the debts thing is kind of a fun concept, because I mean, if you take out a loan, or if you have some sort of debt, then like the right thing to do, the just thing to do, the proper thing to do is to pay it back. And so the like seeing that like that being like a pointless need is interesting. Because I don't know, whenever I think of just like something I'm at the point now where it's like I don't trust anything that's like as things are meant to be, like what is proper, what is right, what is just, blah blah blah. I like don't trust that stuff anymore because we got Ogi walking around, and Ogi's a freaking menace to society, right? So, bro, if Ogi's in one of these episodes, I'm gonna lose my mind. Ogi's gonna be in like 10 or 11 or something in this arc or something. But yeah, I pretty much agree with this. Yeah, Bog. What am I trying to say? Where are we going? Hachikuji! Hachikuji! Let me just pull up. Was there any more in episode 3 that I wanted to like scroll through? Hachikuji OP. Sweet Snail Child doing her thing. Circle. We're moving in circles. We're going nowhere. We're stagnated. Moving down the path of life with Ogi, with telling Ogi about Hachikuji. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hachikuji. Okay, so Hachikuji dies. Did Ogi pull the strings to make Hachikuji die? With the darkness kind of thing? I just like, man, the darkness with nature, it's like, it's a crazy thing where it's like, does the darkness come from Araragi's idea of nature and like justness and properness and like as things are or whatever, like the natural order of things, which then culminates in Ogi? Or is it some sort of separate natural phenomenon? I think it's Araragi. I like the idea that it ties back to Araragi, but it's his projection of, like, the natural. And both could totally work, though. Both could totally work. Which then, makes me want to blame Ogi for killing Hachikuji. Basically, right? Well, it's like Araragi killed Hachikuji himself in a sense that he, like, realized the improperness, or, like, his subconscious realization of the improperness of her existence made Ogi and the darkness come in, like, destroy it. Well, I don't know if Ogi and the darkness is, or if it's just the darkness which then later took shape as Ogi. You know what I mean? Poor Hachikuji deserved better. Man, are oddities even real? Man, what if, like, Araragi just saw, like, a missing poster for Hachikuji one time and then latched onto, like, at the bus station, he sees a missing poster for Hachikuji and then just goes into, like, this crazy fantasy, like, forming a connection with Hachikuji, and she's not actually real and she's just a projection of, like, you know what I mean? And I don't want to go there because, like, Hachikuji is real in my heart, but, you know, it's just crazy. I feel like there's such a fun read you could do with the show eventually of none of them are real. Oof. Oof! I think it's super interesting as well that we never fixed the sandbox, and I talked about that last time, but we never fixed the sandbox. We just said, oh, a park ranger will deal with it, which is like, your park ranger, I feel like immediately is like a parental thing, like, what? Like, you don't actually mean that. Like, that's not actually going to fix the situation if you just offset the responsibility to someone else. It's crazy. Like, man, because Araragi, like, feels responsible for saving everyone always, right? Like, he throws himself into that responsibility. But then when it actually comes to himself and his own cracks in his own foundation, he offloads it to someone else, the park ranger, immediately. He feels responsible for everything, but refuses to take responsibility for himself. That's crazy. Araragi, that's crazy of you to do. Isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. Hanakawa, you're under the lens. It's also so sad that she's just wandering around, you know? Because that's, you know, what she was doing at this time. Poor Hanakawa. Deserves better. Has gotten better. Hachikuji! I don't want to go to the next episode because I just want to keep, like, enjoying this episode with Hachikuji because it's, the last one we're ever gonna get, man. Unless we have more freaking, you know, more freaking flashback arcs. Like, look at her go, man. Hachikuji! Okay, yeah. Yeah, let's go into episode 4, I think. Let's go into episode 4. I think I'm ready. So, Koyomi... Also, I'm only opening up the folders at the start of episode 4. Or, like I haven't even opened up the folder yet, so now we've opened up the folder for the first time. Boom. Because apparently, like, I don't know, there could be, like, a spoiler or something. So, like, now we're doing it live. Okay. Page 1. Koyomi water. You know, it's also just crazy to me conceptually that all these arcs are, like, Koyomi arcs, but we're all getting them later. It's like, it's the same thing with Bake, or like Bake to Kizu. Kizu was Koyomi Vamp, but we only got it after. Like, it took a minute for Araragi to actually tell us about the story that, like, was a Koyomi story. And now, it's like we've gone a bunch farther into the story, and then in the same way that Kizu was held back until he, like, finally realized he had to tell us, it's only now that he's hit a point of no return with the vampirism and the humanity that he's like, dang, maybe I should, like, maybe now I'll finally tell them about it, you know? Like, he was holding all these Koyomi stories in his back pocket until just now to lay on us because homeboy freaking would rather talk about other things. Okay. Koyomi water. Let's get this going. Okay. Boom. fireworks. Interesting. I'm probably going to forget to edit that correctly. But yeah, it's just fireworks and like a reflective water surface, and Araragi's shirtless. I could probably look at the timeline to get a guess of who this is going to be with. Like what character this is going to be with. But yeah, I'm not going to worry about that because we're probably about to figure out. July 7th. July 7th. Konbu. Okay, there we go. Konbu. Makes sense. Yeah, bro, we're literally going in the order. We started with Hanakawa, right? Which makes sense because Kizu. And then we went to, because like, well, it was like Koyomi Stone, which like had Hanakawa in it, sure. But then we had the Senjugahara one, and then we had the Hachikuji one, and now we're having Konbu one. It's literally the order of Bake. So yeah, that's crazy. It's just going up and up and up and up. And I'll try to make a comment on it. Apparently, like episode 8 or 9, I'm pretty sure like has like a spoiler in it, so we can like skip or something. I don't know. I'll clarify with the Discord. I think one of the episodes has a spoiler down the line, which is and I guessed this earlier, right? I don't know. I'll clarify with the Discord and then make a comment. Okay. Kamadu Suruga, let me take a sip, then we'll read. It's easier to just do that through comments instead of expecting people to just watch the like 5-second clip of me talking about it. Yeah, that's not very fair to y'all. I don't expect everyone to watch every second. That would be insane. That would be clinically mad. Okay. I bet Subaru. So, okay, I said Subaru. I bet Suruga Konbu thinks of a road as a place for running rather than walking. Bro, okay, pause. I was thinking about this earlier. In Monogatari, when she was just running down the road, and then she hit a crossroads, and then she stopped running after realizing that Numachi had killed herself. That's crazy to me, because it's like, she ran down her road to the point of not being able to run anymore. And then, like, to not run anymore, to stop is, like, to die, kind of. And it's not like she was, like, dying in a sense. But, like, I wonder if that was, like, if, like, her running to the point of not running anymore was, like, maybe, like, some sort of crazy way to connect with Numachi or something. Where it's, like, I think mostly it was just, that's what she does. She runs, you know? She's a runner. She's an athlete. So it was, like, her gut instinct of, like, I don't know how to process these emotions I've gotten, so I'm just gonna run. And I'm gonna run, and that's her way of, like, coping and processing. But specifically with, like, this road in life thing, for her to run till she can't run anymore, I mean, that's like suicide, right? To live life until you can't live your life anymore. And right when she hits that, like, lowest point, and where she collapses in the crossroad, where she could, crossroad, choices, go any direction, potentially, ice yourself, that's when Araragi comes up and, like, saves the day kind of thing, right? But, like, coming out of specifically Numachi and the information with Numachi, I feel like that hits even harder with this roads discussion, I liked Monogatari. People, I think, underrate that arc. Low key. Not that I even know how people rate it that well. Okay, let me actually read this. How long is this? 2.5. Okay. I bet Suruga Konbu thinks of a road as a place for running rather than walking, given that she runs full tilt down whatever road she's on, no matter the circumstances, regardless of wind or weather. In fact, this junior of mine seems to have a hard time even slowing down, let alone proceeding at anything like a leisurely pace. A hard time, yeah, hardly her forte. But even though she's always hoofing it at top speed, maybe it's not so much that a fast pace is her specialty, but rather that a slow pace is so difficult for her to maintain that it's out of her hands, though not so difficult that she's bound hand and foot. Out of her hands is interesting. It makes it sound like it's out of her hands, her speed of running. That's interesting. In fact, Konbu has no qualms about embarking on a wild goose chase, probably never even considers taking a leisurely stroll. Anyway, a road. Not trod, but raced down. Ever since she became a star, garnering the attention of the entire school, and even now, having lost none of her luster even after quitting the basketball team, Konbu has been in possession of a roadmap depicting an altogether different route from my own. A road. Isn't how I think of it, Araragi-senpai. This was her response when I broached this subject one time. As always, she looked directly at me when she spoke. When running is a part of everyday life like it is for me, the place where you run isn't a road, it's a track. A track? Sure, that's definitely what you'd call the road where the runners run in track and field. For a guy like me, though, whose everyday life does not involve running, for whom running is a big deal, calling it a track didn't sit well. How can I put this? Doesn't track strongly suggest an absolute fixed route from which you can't deviate? What? I'm surprised at you, Araragi-senpai. Even when it means street, a road is still fixed, something you can't deviate from. If you just up and move into the next lane, you'll cause an accident. Changing lanes is never a simple matter, no matter what road you're on. True. And even then, you're still bound to the road you're on. That's what I was saying earlier, man. True. Street or track, it's merely a question of context, nothing more than semantics. In practice, whether you're running or walking, whether it's a street or biking, whether it's a street or a track, a road is a road. People talk about life where the roadmap is already laid out for you, but since everyone is traveling down the road of life, we're all following some set of rules, obeying some sort of traffic regulations. I've been saying. It's not so easy to drop out of the race, to deviate from the fixed path. Changing lanes is all well and good, but you have to be careful or you might drive straight off a cliff. And there's always the possibility of a head-on collision. So we have no choice but to keep chugging along down the road. Well, that said, qualified Konbaru, dropping out isn't actually all that hard. The truth is, even if you don't stray out of your lane, you can still drop out. Going full tilt down the road, down the track, is certainly chugging along, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're moving forward. People can chug along backwards, too. They can and do, she said. Because every route comes with an escape route. That's crazy. Because every route comes with... Yeah, I can go backwards. I can put this hoe into reverse. That's crazy. Going full tilt down the road is certainly chugging along, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're moving forward. People can chug along back. You can move backwards. Real. Real. It's crazy coming from Konbaru, right? Because it's always full tilt. It's always full speed ahead. So it's like, it's either we're going full speed ahead or we're going full speed backwards. You know, there's no in between. Which is why it's so like crazy and like telling in Monogatari that she runs full tilt till she can't anymore, and then that's how she stops, right? Because she couldn't stop. She couldn't just stop on the road. She has to hit a breaking point. She has to force herself to a breaking point to stop. Which is just, I don't know, man. That's just like a crazy... Force yourself to a breaking point to stop makes me think of just like all sorts of mental stuff, you know? Like I don't know, like workaholic type behavior, just obsessive type behavior, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is I agree with all of this 1,000,000 quadrillion %. This is fire. This is fire. I don't even know if I have much more to add on it because of how much I'm like already on its page. This the out of her hands, even though not so difficult that she's bound hand and foot. That's interesting to me because it's like saying that she has no control of the speed of her own running, you know. But it's like she's the one running. Like I would argue, no, she could slow down her pace if she wanted to, right? It's like that. I would want her to realize that she has control over the speed of her own running. She doesn't have control over the track she runs upon, on the road she runs upon. I mean, yeah, she could shift lanes or whatever to whatever degree she wants, but like even if she doesn't have, like, what you have control over is the speed of which you're going forward, you're going backward, or you're stopping completely, and any like lane changes that you want, right? But at the end of the day, that is quite a bit of control, I would argue, you know. It's not nothing. It can feel like nothing, but it's not nothing, you know? Especially if the road ever diverges and there's two roads. Whoa. Which of these arcs is going to bring up the idea of like a splitting path, huh? Which of the roads is going to hit a crossroad, huh? We already went over roundabouts with Hachikuji. Where's my crossroads? Where's my bridge? Where's my I don't know what else. Where's my T intersection, bro? Yeah. So Konbaru. Man, these chapter 1s hit so hard. I love these chapter 1s. It's not so easy to drop out of the race, to deviate from the fixed path. You might drive straight off a cliff. Driving off a cliff is interesting as well, because like that's like death or like cataclysm or like ruin or like destruction, you know? But and I guess that's one way to stop, is to just drive off a cliff. Like that's a way to stop your movement on your path. But that's like, I mean, that's like the difference from like recklessly endangering yourself, which would be like driving off a cliff, and then purposefully stopping the car, which would be like ending yourself, you know? Yeah, crazy analogy. The life is roads analogy goes really hard, especially with all the context of like traffic signs and such. Woo! Yeah, I like it. Okay, I say we jump into Koyomi 4. Man, why is it so hot in this room? I'm sweating. I feel sweat. Hey, it's the basketball. Was this the Hana one? I forgot which OP this was. But yeah, okay. Episode 4, let's get this going. I gotta cool down, man. I read the word Konbaru and I started getting hot. What does that mean? Okay. Episode 4, let's get this going. I'll try to make a comment about the, I don't know. I'll clarify with the Discord about, like, potential spoiler stuff and then make a comment, hopefully. But yeah, Episode 4, let's get this going in a 3, a 2, a 1. Bang! Whoa, why is it so loud? Okay. Mic coming through, audio coming through. Let's go. Dunk on him. Koyomi water. Basketball. Senjo! Oh, was this... Yeah, this was just the, as if stapled to the spot. Crazy. That's actually crazy. Was this the Kombaru Suruga Monkey? Yeah, Suruga Monkey it was. Okay. Now I remember. That's right. The Yaoi flower, or the Yuri flowers, right? Wasn't that what the flowers were? That's fun. Yeah. I forgot about the bandages, like, unraveling for that. A shadowy heart overtook me with these entangled feelings. Bro. Look at her dropping in on Senju Gahara. What are you doing? She's a drop monkey. She's a drop bear, bro. Okay. Nothing to analyze. Quintilis. What the heck's a quintilis? Hello? Oh, okay. Dumping. Oh, brutal. Making messes just so that Araragi will come clean it up. Oh, you just want attention. Oh, you just want attention. What is that? My dear Araragi. Whoa. Okay. I thought she was about to get lewd with it. Not another bath. No, please! I can't take it anymore. I can't take it. No, please. Please. No. Alright, I'll stop playing. This is a nice bathroom. Thank goodness. Good move, Araragi. Good move. No! She's gonna break it down, bro. She got monkey strength, bro. She have a bam. Mario, Super Mario. Hop. A battering ram. Ooh, one of my favorite tracks, bro. One of my favorite OST tracks. Dang, Araragi's straight chillin'. I want to be chillin' in a sauna. Whoa. What are we doing out here, Kombaru? What are we doing? He doesn't want to let you into the bath. He doesn't want to be honest with you, man. Or something. I don't know. Let's see. I'm pogging. How did you get in? Oh no, this is we're outside. She's outside. I'm playing. I'm sorry. I thought she teleported through the door, bro. The well water from the garden. Bro, that sounds so nice. Garden mineral special water sauna mode. I'm not even paying attention to you stripping. I gotta focus. Sorry for my father. They're trying to distract. They're trying to distract us so hard. Stay focused. What would he notice while bathing? They're trying to distract so hard. It's kind of working. It's kind of working. An odd story. Bro. Okay, what's in this water? Your own reflection. Okay. The surface. Not the water, but the reflection. It seems you went into Kambaru's room. Okay. Oh. Oh, she's killing him. Aww. Our recording is still fresh. Gotta save. Good save. Whoa. You should have insisted I die a few more times. It's kind of funny that... Let's just focus. Let's just focus. Right? You're doing yoga. Dang, such a go. She got me acting up. She got me acting up. I'm sorry. Yeah, what was in the surface of the water? Ah. Okay. Interesting. Good question. Was it just himself? Good options. Whoa, whoa. Hachiguchi! Sujigahara, you gotta stop doing yoga. It's working. Okay. Relatable. She's me, for real, for real. This one is going so fast. I don't get that. Drawing a longbow? I don't get that. Ooh, thank you, finally. Okay. Bars. Undulating, so he saw what he pattern recognizing brain, bro. He felt destined to meet. Yeah, like the shifting of our own memories. Or the mutability. Ooh, good question. If she believes that tale, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Did we tell? Who was it? Giga Woman. So big. Okay, dude. Okay. Hang up, hang up, hang up. Okay, Komodo. Hmm. Let me take these little phonies off. So, it's interesting. I like Senju. I mean, I believe Senju Gahar, where it's like the thing you think, or like, it's like self. It's like a self fulfilling prophecy, where if I think that I have like this hazy idea of like, oh, there's this person in the water, I'm gonna marry him. You fall in love with somebody, your memories are gonna like form and it's gonna like lock in, right? That's not even quite a self fulfilling prophecy. That's more like a self prophesizing fulfillment. It's like flipped. You get what I mean? Where the prophecy shifts and morphs around the result that actually happens, right? So you then think of it prophesized when in reality it was just you making everything up. Which is interesting. I'm not quite sure what to do with that. You know what I mean? Um, I mean, it's interesting with the idea of fate and like roads and such, where you tell him, Shinobu, you tell him, as Araragi gets drowned and murdered by all these women. Poor Araragi. Where it's like I feel like there is fate. I like look at this reflection. I am destined to meet this person. It's out of my control. But in reality, this is within my own control because I made it all up. Right? It's like this bias that I have that I feel is prophesized and I feel is external is actually an internal thing. So it's like I'm shackling myself to external prophecy when in reality it is my own interpretation, my own bias, my own perception. Which I think is true for what Araragi attempts to do, where he'll say, this is divine retribution for me turning into the vampire. This is divine retribution for the things I've done. As opposed to what I really think it is his internal perspective of himself being too comfortable turning into a vampire, so I made that shift, you know? Where I do find it to be more of it has to do with your perceptions and your biases, as opposed to it's an external fate, prophetic, whatever. So, like, that's kind of what I immediately am trying to pull from this, which is cool. Doing it with love and romance is intriguing to me. I mean, it's just it's just monkey pattern recognizing brain, you know? Let's see. Let me just go back to the start. They get into bath. I do find it interesting that Araragi locks the door so that she can't get in the bath with him. That makes me kind of think of like, I don't know, because like the way I've literally coped with the bath scenes before is like, oh, this is like the moment for being real. This is the moment for honesty. But all the attempts to have like an honest like conversation with Kombaru about like this question that Aragi's walked into this arc with of what is life, and then the analogy of the road as a way to answer that. With Kombaru, he doesn't really make much. I feel like he almost doesn't really make much progress with it. Where like he has the opportunity to like bathe with her, which in a sense would be like them being real with each other, but instead he locks the door so that she can't come in. You know, locks her out of this reflective moment. And then later when he calls her up, she rather than being real at all, just throws a bunch of eroticism at his face to like to deflect, you know? So it's like the two attempts made for them to have like a real conversation are interrupted. Oh my goodness. This stomach, bro. The stomach area, neuron activation. Oh my goodness. But yeah, like, so that's kind of crazy to me. I mean, Kombaru. Running straight ahead, track, road, destiny, you can run backwards. That's kind of the stuff we were getting from the chapter 1. It's like, it's crazy. Like, why is he like shutting her out? Or at least why is the conversation, I feel like, not going where it should be, you know? Or it's not making the progress that I thought it would, in a sense. Just the locking out, and then for it to end with her going full erotic mode. It's like, dude, he is in this introspective, looking out the window, bathing in the moonlight, you know, an honest... I feel like he's like attempting a rare moment of introspection, of like true introspection from Araragi, and he calls on Kombaru to make some like introspective progress, who previously he was locking out, but then she's not willing to like do it either, and she just deflects with a bunch of nonsense about boobs. Or is this not nonsense? Maybe this is the honest truth of Araragi likes boobies, and so does she, and that is their connection. Hey, you and me both. You and me trio, bro. You and me, you and me Kombaru, you and me Araragi. Okay, we can shake hands. Okay, Senjugahara does not have to be doing all this yoga. I don't know. Did the yoga poses? Oh my goodness, man. I don't know what was happening there, but the dad, Kombaru's dad, to see the image. As soon as I hear the word dad, you know I'm freaking out. Kombaru's dad, Kaiki got cucked. Araragi, parents. Would see the image of the person he would one day marry. Yeah, because, I mean, I don't think this is an oddity at all. I think this is, well, I don't think it's an oddity in the sense of, like, I don't think this is actual prophecy in any way, right? Like, I'm so with Senjugahara's interpretation, that, I mean, but it is an oddity, and it is real in the sense that, like, to give something to Kombaru, to give credence to Kombaru, it is real in the sense that, dude, she threw her, like, clothes all over the statues. That's so funny. It is real in the sense that his belief in the propheticness, the foreshadowing of meeting this woman, his belief in her probably locked him into actually, like, romance with her, right? With Gon Toei, because he thought it was the girl from the water, but in reality, it was really just, he liked Gon Toei, and then it kind of, like, the past morphed to fit it, because, you know, our memories aren't perfect. Yeah. So it does have some power in that regard, and that's not something to just be dismissed. But at the end of the day, it is something that is internal as opposed to external. It's like it's an internal, like, subconscious power, right? That then is labeled to prophecy, which I think is so good for, like, such an interesting reflection onto Araragi. But that's not, I mean, does Araragi, I don't think Araragi accepts this. I don't think Araragi actually learns the lesson in this reflection, in this introspection, because, I mean, maybe he does to some degree, because the shot of him looking out the window is pretty, like, introspective, but when it comes to actually talking with Kombaru, like, he doesn't really make the progress there, you know, he doesn't, I feel like, you know, so, yeah, like, does he, I don't know, man, are we gonna come out of this arc and actually have some sort of change in Araragi? Because, I mean, like, what comes after introspection, I feel like usually is a path towards change. And this is definitely introspection arc. So it makes me think, like, okay, where's the change? You know, what kind of change are we going to potentially get out of this? But is it copium to think that Araragi's actually going to change? Could be. I also found Senjugahara's, like, things about dying, like, telling Araragi to die are kind of funny. Because, like, if we do see Araragi as, like, suicidal and such, which I would, it kind of... Suicidal is kind of a weird word to throw just because of, like, the connotation. So, like, I usually try to qualify it a bunch, but let's just use that for the moment. Of, like, yeah, Araragi has, like, some suicidal tendencies. So for Senjugahara to be saying, like, die, and then I think at one point she literally said, like, kill yourself. But for her to be saying all that, I almost feel like that's her, like telling Araragi to not do that, you know, where it's like she turns it into like a playful banter to be like, oh, I want you to die, but like really you're like, don't do it, you know. So man, I almost feel like that's like she has a read on Araragi in a sense, and maybe is trying to like steer him away from the direction through the gimmick that she's kind of come up with and that they do, you know. I think that could be a thing, because you know, yeah, kind of sweet, kind of sweet. That's drawing a longbow for sure, huh? You mean to tell me that Kambaru's dad saw his own face reflected like a mirror, but he mistook that to be the face of his future spouse? Is drawing the longbow just mean like a difficult, like, oh, that's like a big stretch? That's probably, yeah, that sounds like, because it's hard to draw a longbow, man. You need a lot of freaking arm strength to draw a longbow. Yeah. It is funny as well that's like if you're using water to reflect, like it's not a perfect mirror. So it's almost just like this is, I almost want to say like a part of like introspection going into the past to try to like learn lessons about yourself and like your situation or whatever isn't an easy perfect process. Like the past is undulating and unsure and constantly changing and is put through the lens of your current biases and your current perceptions. So in that way, like reflection can be difficult to parse if you know, depending on you know, you can't think of it as a mirror. So it's like you have to be careful with the environment in which you attempt to introspect. Oh, this is crazy. You can see Araragi's reflection in the blimp. That's cool. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, man. I kind of, the vivid contrast they make with my abs entrances me utterly, and I end up soaking too long every night. What a crazy thing to say. See, Frank, I don't think everything else even rigid. She's just lusting over herself, man. I mean, speak your truth. I mean, that sounds like body positivity to me. It is what it is, you know. Bye, Hachikuji. Bye, Hachikuji. She's going up to heaven. Love you, Hachikuji. Freaking Araragi's mom with the ponytail. When are we getting Araragi mom arc? Can we get one of these introspection things be a talk with Araragi's mom with Araragi? Araragi, please give me a conversation with your mom. That would be so cool. That would be so telling. Oh, please tell me this is foreshadowing for her getting an episode of one of these arcs. In this arc. Woo! I'm pleading, Araragi. I'm pleading. I am pleading. Give me one with each of these characters. Give me an Ogi one too. I'm down. Show me that Ogi was around back then. I'm down. Ononoki, stop trying to swing on me. But yeah, I think that's all I kind of got for this episode. This episode of Koyomimonogatari, episode 4, on to the next episode 5. Got me intrigued. For show. Interested to hear what y'all got to say on it. But yeah, that's all I got for this episode. Episode 4 of Koyomimonogatari, on to the next episode 5. Of course, if you like the episode, or if you like the video, If you like the episode, I don't know. You can't really go. If you like the episode, go buy like Monogatari merch. Support the creators, I guess. Okay. But if you like the video, subscribe. If you're new, blah blah blah. Comment down below if you have anything to say. Join the Discord. Talk to me or other Monogatari fans there. Notification bell as well. Ding ding ding. Notifications. Boom 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 for streams, for videos. You know how it goes. Community posts as well. Go to the socials. They're in the about me and my little YouTube. The little linkies. But yeah, it really does help to watch the little numbies go up. Keeps me trucking along this road, running full tilt, Kambaru style. You know how it goes. But yeah, until the next episode 5 of Koyomi Monogatari, that's all I got for today. I'll be seeing you then. Peace.